Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, 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 people. Welcome to my tutorial about the new normal. So let's see how many of you guys are with me. Let me search for you guys. So what's up, guys? Let me know where you're from. Let me know where you're tuning in from, so I can answer some questions of you, and I can show you guys how I made the new normal. It's actually my second track on Revealed Recordings. I did one before, of course, Bass Face with Jax. It was one of my biggest tracks, and it got a lot of support. So I'm really proud and really happy to be back here at Revealed, at the Revealed family, and I feel really welcome again. And they asked me to show you guys how I made the new normal, so I'm really happy that I could show you how I made it. And yeah, let's go. I'm doing well, thank you, Mataya. So let me know if you have any questions, so I can just answer them about the track or about me or whatever. And let me know what you think about the track. It's been a little something different than I do normally, so that's why I call it the new normal. And for the people who are questioning where I am right now, I'm at the FIDA studios in Amersfoort. We had an amazing new collab coming up. A nice day in the studio, finding some good weather in the Netherlands, and yeah, we're really happy to be working on some new music again. We might release it on Revealed, who knows. So alright, let's get to it. I'll show you guys the full version of the new normal first. If you haven't listened to it yet, it has been played twice on Hardwell on Air, which is very cool. It's released on the festival EP, and the support has been great, and the comments as well, so I'm really proud of this record. So I will show you the project first. Have a listen. Starting with the intro, of course. this is the track. This has been the first break and the first drop. You can hear the full version on my SoundCloud. And I'm going to explain to you guys how I made it. So if you have any questions, just make sure to ask them, and I'll be happy to get back to you as soon as possible. I got a question if I like my job. To be honest, yes I do. I do a lot. It's the best job in the world, and it's super fun to make music for your living. So yeah, I'm super happy. I'll start with the intro. It's a pretty basic intro. I introduced the chords in the intro, a little bit filtered. So it's just the first chord, as you can see. I cut it here. And it's getting more open towards the break. I used one kick, and let's see, what do we use as well? Clap with an echo on it to have it more like a percussion kind of thing. Another clap. And a kick with bit more bass to it. So this is the top kick, and this is the full kick. I like to use a kick with a lot of body to it in the intro, so it's pretty easy to mix when you're DJing, and you can hear really the kick on the grid. So it's really easy to mix. And I used a fill-in that I sampled actually. It's a sample that I got from Koen. It's a hardstyle producer. And it's a very useful sample. I like to sample some little things out of tracks that I really like. It's really easy to do, and you just have to listen really good to the tracks. And if you hear that the sample is loose, you can just sample it and use it in your own track. So it's very useful. I used an uplifter here. As you can hear, it's a synth uplifter that I made from a silent. I just filtered it a little bit, and then it came up, and then I pitched it. So it's a great transition to the break. That's how I work. Most of the times I use a lot of sounds that make good transitions between breaks to build-ups to drops, from intros to the build-ups to the first break. So that's what I do. And of course I use some percussions and some hi-hats and stuff, and a tom. This is a tom I really like to use. It's from Vengeance, but I used a lot of compression on it, and it gives a really good, how do you say it? It makes it more groovy, you know. And also with the hi-hats, it makes it more groovy. That's what I really like about adding hi-hats and rides and stuff like that. I just got a question how I work on my low end. It's a very important element of the production. The low end. It's if your low end isn't good, your whole track will be messy. So not the Messi from football, by the way. it's very important that you keep it. You just have to you need one bass line or one sub, so you don't have to use a lot of bass lines. You just have to use one sound that has the low frequencies. As you can see right here, I'm using one sub for in the break, and it's doing the low notes. It doesn't have any high frequencies, it's just a low end. And if I mute it, then you can't hear it probably, but you will miss a lot of frequencies in the low end. So I always try to keep it really clean in the low end, and to try to use one sound for the sub, one sound for the bass line, one sound for the, let's say, the 500 to 1K hertz, and on top, you know, the white noise and stuff like that, and just the high frequencies need to be filled with a sound that has a little bit of unique, you know. So the high synths need to be really original, but in the low end you should try to keep it clean and just steady. So going to the break right now. I got a question about a clean mix, how I get my clean mix. Well, just like I explained to you guys, the low end is very important to a clean mix. So if you want to reach a clean mix, you should definitely just go for that advice about the low end. But less is more is one of the most important tips I can give as well. You should always try to get like one or two synths that go together nicely on top, because if you do too much, it will get really messy and it will not get clean, you know. So if you just search for one or two really good sounds for on top, your mix will get a lot cleaner. So I'll be happy to answer those questions, but you can always hook me up on Twitter or on Facebook, so I can give you some more advice on that. Starting with the break right now, I use some weird sounds to fill it up. Actually, this is a little bit of a cell phone. I really like to use these kind of sounds to fill it up. It makes it more, a little bit more dark, and yeah, I just really love to do things like that. That makes my production stand out. So on top I have like the unique and the beautiful synths, but on the background I have a few things going on that you can't really hear when you're listening to the track, but they're if they're not there, you're really hearing the difference, you know. So that's what I'm trying to do with all my tracks, to fill it up nicely so it sounds like a complete track. This is what I did as well with this loop. I used this loop as well on my first track, Drop the Guns. It has a nice groove to it, and it makes the transitions a lot easier. So let's skip on to the... I'll come to the vocal chop later. I'll just explain how I did the instrumental stuff first, and then after that I will go to the vocal chops. It's in another project. I try to keep it basic right here because of the vocal chop on top. I just try to use some chords there and have a bass line there, and as you can hear, like a rave synth that goes really low and it's really sidechained. it functions as a sort kind of a bass line. Together with the sub, it sounds really fat. I sidechain it because I have a snare below, and it's really a clumsy snare. So I really needed to sidechain it so it sounded good together. As you can hear, this is the snare. It's really a clumsy snare, so I can show you with all the plugins off. So I used a pitch for the build-up, a direction mixer that makes it a little more stereo. It doesn't do a lot, but it helps with your mix down. You can focus on the mono and on the stereo with the direction mixer. I used the salsa fattener to make it more crunchy and thumpier, as Carnage would say. And I used a high cut on it. And the high cut goes up when the build-up gets in there. I used a arpeggiator to make it really like a weird kind of yeah, I don't know how to call it, but it's make it more lighter or something like that. And then we go into the build-up. Here I introduce the drop melody. For the people asking, I'm using Logic Pro 9. I really love Logic. I worked in Fruity Loops for the first few years that I started. It's a cool one to work with as well, but Logic just really works more for me. It's yeah, the overview is better, I think. So I will show you guys how I made the drop melody. This is the MIDI I used for it. This is like a really big synth I used. It's a little more on the background, but this one is really up front. It's a synth from Silent One. I actually made it myself. It's from my Init. I really like to work on my own sounds as well, because it makes you more unique, you know, it makes you more original. And so yeah, I'm always trying to make my own synths, but of course it's hard. And I really like to work with presets as well, but I try to make the presets my own. You know, so I work with a preset and then I changed it a lot of things so it sounds like an Alpharock preset. This is the third layer I use for the drop synth. It's not a bass line, it's not a rave synth. And this is what it sounds without the procession. Like a big rave synth, but I used a lot of equalizing on it. I cut off the top and I cut off the low end, so it sounds like this. Also I used a lot of compression, so it gets a little bit softer, and it's nice in the mix right now because of the equalizing and because of the compression. If I didn't do that, the mix will go upside down. You know, so it's very important to equalize and to compress your sounds really well. Let's see. Now we're getting to the real build-up. I use the same sounds, but I just loop them with the first 2 notes, and they go up. As you can hear. And I also did that with a bass line, so it really the full spectrum of frequencies goes up and goes down when the beat drops. So it's really important for me to have like the complete spectrum go up, you know. This is what it sounds without the snares. This is what I did with the snare. As you can see, the high cut is off right now, and I used a pitch from Waves to make it go all the way up, to make it more lighter. And I also did a low cut on it, and I made it disappear somehow, as you can hear. So that was the build-up. I used a lot of uplifters and let's see, yeah, uplifters and stuff like that as well. But they're just vengeance and stuff. But the most important thing is what I did with the synths in the build-up, and of course with the snare. Let's get to the drop. This is what the drop sounds like. I got a question about which reverb I use. You use a lot of reverb from the synth itself, so from Silent or from Massive or Spire. It depends on what kind of thing I'm using. But I'm also using the reverb of Logic itself. It's really easy for me. It's the Platinum Verb, as I can show you here. It really works really easy for me. I really like the thing itself. It's really easy to use. Yeah, it's really easy to work on with your project. So I'm using that one, and I'm using also the R Verb from the Waves package. So that are the reverbs I use. So I'm first going to explain to you guys how I made the low end of the track. It contains a few kicks and a 6 sub bass line. It's the first kick is the kick I got from my buddy CMCS. It's a really strong kick with a lot of body to it. Let's see how I solo it. It's got a lot of body to it, like I said, but it doesn't have any high end. So the top kick is really important with this one. So I got this kick right here. And so I thought, yeah, I need another kick. And then I used another top kick for it. This is the top kick. It's really a small one. And also another one with really a lot of top on it. It's really the high frequencies, so you really can hear the punch on the kick, and I think it's really important that your kick stands out in your production. So these are the 3 kicks together. It's one of the most crazy kicks I've worked with, and I'm really proud on this one. For the subline I used Massive. I don't think you can actually hear it, but the sub is crazy. I used LFO2 and Kickstart to sidechain it because it has, as you can see, I used a lot of sidechaining here. Oh, it's not working. Oh. Alpharock is such a bitch sometimes. Alright, so I used the, let's see what it is, the nice and tough sidechain of the Nicky Romero kick at 100, and I used my own preset I made for the LFO tool. It's a lot of low, the first let's say 2 seconds cut off, and at the end I used to cut off it as well, so it flows nicely into the next note. Let's see if it goes away. Come on. It's not. It's working. All right. So that is the sub, and for the bass line I used the 6 sound from Nexus actually. I used a lot of precision on it. I used the Saturn twice on it. As you can, I can show you the difference. I think you really can hear it. This is what it sounds with the precision of the Saturn and the LFO tool. It sounds a lot more crunchy, so I'm really proud of that precision, and it really works in the track. With the sound itself sounds really dull, so the precision is really important on this one. This is how the sound normally sounds without any plugins on it, and this is what it sounds like with all the plugins on it. Let's see. As you can see, there are a lot of plugins. It's a lot of softer, but it has like a really sharp edge on it, so it really it's aggressive in the track. And I layered it with this sound. This is the top melody, but it's the same sound, but a lot less aggressive. So together it sounds like this. So yeah, I'm really proud of that bass line. I used some white noise on it as well, just for the top, on the first notes, so to make it a little more crunchy. And altogether it sounds like this. Oh, I forgot to turn off one. Alright, and now for the main sound of the drop, I used a synth from Vandalism, but I tweaked it a lot. I can show you guys how it sounds without all the precision. Oh shit, it's getting out of hand. As you can hear, it's very dull, and I didn't really like it, but after this chain of plugins, it sounds really cool to me. It's a lot of equalizing that did the trick for me. As you can see, I tweaked off a lot of low ends, and I used some echo on it, and a lot of compression by the Kramer tape, which is pretty cool. I can really let's see. Yeah, it's very cool to have the Kramer tape on it as a compression. It really works really well. So I can really, you should really use that one. All right, so that's the top synth. And altogether it sounds like this. Hardwell played it out live a few times, and I hear it's going crazy live, so it's pretty cool to hear stuff like that. And yeah, it's awesome to see that Hardwell is supporting my tracks, of course, and it's a big dream for me come true that he's actually playing my tracks in Hardwell on air, and as well as his live performances. And it's great to see the crowd's reaction when it really goes off. So that's actually a big dream come true for me. In the last section of the drop, I used a little variation. I'm really proud on that one actually, because it's pretty sick. It sounds like this. It's a few synths used from Vengeance, and I really tweaked it a lot. I used a lot of pitch shifters on it, so solo it sounds like this, and together it sounds like this. So the one is tweaked, pitched to the low end, and the other one is pitched up high, so it sounds like a short, and it's a really cool effect, and I can really I think you should really do that in your let's see, in your project, to make it more stand out and to make it more different. If you hear sound like that just coming up and it's fresh, you know, so always try to be original with your sounds. And then we go into the last part of the drop. As you can hear, the top synth is gone, and I used the uplifter again. Let's see which one it is. It's this one. I just pitched it up again, and with the filter, I didn't do anything with the filter. As you can see, I just pitched it up, and I used a different MIDI for it, so it sounds differently. I used another top synth for it as well, which is a little less aggressive as the first one. It's a synth I got from the Morphox. And the Morphox is a pretty cool plugin as well. It's a VST synthesizer, and I can show you guys here. It's pretty crazy. You can do a lot with VST. Just by turning this knob right here. And you have a lot of options to work on to play around with the synth. Alright, getting to the second break right now. I used the, let's see, the Waves sound shift pitch for my pitching. I got a question about it, so this one is really useful. You can just use the semitones up or down, and it's really easy to use, and you can use the sense as well, so it's semitones and the sense. It's really easy to use, and I used a lot of plugins who are really easy to use, so in the process of making a track, it's really easy for me to just grab them, do the thing they need to do without all the difficult stuff. And so it's really easy for me to get the basics of the track started and the idea on the actually on Logic. So it's really important for me to have simple plugins. And I will get to the vocal chop right now. I got a lot of questions about it, and it's actually what I've been doing for the last, let's see, I started with it actually with Fall. That was my first track with a good vocal chop, and I decided to do it in basically every track I released from there. I really like to do it, the vocal chops, because it gives you another insight on the. It's not really a vocal, but you can have your own interpretation on what it says. It really isn't a spoken word. It's just you can make something of it yourself. So this is the vocal chop. As you can see, I don't know if I can actually show it, but fuck it. I used the Iron Carry vocal for it. Let's see which one it is. I'm not sure. Keep on Rising it is. It's really easy one to use, as you can hear. And it's actually a duet that it's singing. The first, let's see what it is. The first 2 seconds are the Iron Carry a cappella, and because I didn't really had an idea about how I'm gonna pursue it, I thought maybe I should use a male vocal for the second part of it. So I wanted to have like a vocal chop of 4 seconds. So this is 2 seconds. Oh, it's actually 4 seconds, sorry. And I wanted to have a vocal chop of 8 seconds, so it's a little bit longer and a little bit variation on it. So I came up with this acapella. It's the acapella from Usher Climax, and I made the second part of it. So the first 4 seconds are silent, and then this comes. So together it sounds like this. It's kind of a duet that they are singing. I thought it was pretty original when it comes down to the vocal chops, because normally everybody is just using one a cappella, and I thought it really helpful to make it a duet, you know. But it was very hard to actually get it right in the mix, because they are 2 different a cappellas. They need 2 different approaches. So the procession on the vocal chops were really hard to do, but I think I did a good job on it. I linked them to a bus, and if I just used the same reverb for the acapellas, as you can hear, when I shut it off, it sounds like this. So I will show you guys right now how I made the procession on the Iron Carry part. I used the gain on it, some equalizing, after that a camel fat, because I really love to use the camel fat. It makes it more sharp and more aggressive. As you can see, it's raw made. I can show you the difference when it's on and when it's off. It really has an edge to it, and I also used the compressor on it, so it's a little bit compressed inside of the camel fat. So this is what it sounds like without all the compression. It has a lot of attacks on it, and it really doesn't sound like a good vocal chop to me. So the most important thing is to do first is to get it in the right tone of the track I'm working on. So I had to up it with 2 semitones to get it in the tones of the new normal track. And once you're doing that, the vocal will change, you know, so you won't hear it that fast that it's the Iron Carry a cappella anymore. So after that I used the the reverb of Logic again. And it will get a lot of, it will sound more together when you have reverb on it. It shouldn't be too long. I had a reverb time of 3 seconds and a wet on about 50%. It shouldn't be too long because you have a lot of notes playing, so you just have to be careful with all the reverb time you have on it. So I used to have to cut a lot of low end of it and a little bit of a high end. And now I use the camel fat on it. And another equalizer to have the low end, because the camel fat adds a lot of low end to your sound again when you put it on. So always when you use camel fat, always use another equalizer beneath it, so it you take away the low end if you don't want the low end. And again, and that's pretty much how I made my vocal chops. I did the same with the Usher vocal. I had to pitch it up. Oh, it was actually in the right key, so I didn't have to pitch it up. But I used probably almost the same reverb and the same camel fat, so it sounds, it sounds really cool together. And that's pretty much how I made the new normal. So if you have any questions about how I really made it, you can always hit me up on Twitter or on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever. My Twitter is at Alpharock Music. My Facebook is facebook.com/alpharockmusic. My Snapchat is just Alpharock. So you can ask me anything you want there, and I hope this was useful to you. Let me know what you think about this tutorial and about the songs, and I hope to show you some new music soon. See you later.